In this video, I'm going to look at what you need to know about planning permission when setting up a new house in multiple occupation. I'm going to look at when you need planning permission for an HMO and when you don't, and how to apply for permission when you need it. I'm also going to explain what Article 4 really means in the HMO world. Hi, my name is Mark Lloyd. I'm co-founder of Property Master Academy, and I've been investing in property since 2005. So, do you always need planning permission to set up an HMO? Well, the answer is no, you don't. But in practice, you will often need planning permission, and I'll explain why this is in a moment. Firstly, let's take a quick look at how planning permission works. So the planning system divides different building uses into what are called different planning classes. For example, use class B2 is for industrial buildings, and use class E is for commercial property, whereas use class C is for residential property, including private homes. Now, an ordinary house, known as a dwelling house by the planners, is use class C3. An HMO accommodating not more than 6 people is use class C4 or a small HMO, while larger HMOs are in a unique use class known as sui generis. By the way, that's Latin and means in a class of their own. Now, this is what you need to know about HMO planning permission. Changing the use of a building from one class to another usually means you need planning permission. But there are some cases where you don't. You can do it without planning permission under what are known as permitted development rights. So, for example, changing a C3 house into a small C4 HMO is a permitted development. So generally, you don't need planning permission to set up an HMO for up to 6 people. But for anything larger than 6 people, and remember, we recommend HMOs have at least 6 rooms for viability reasons, you will always need planning permission. You also need to know about something called Article 4. Now, Article 4 is a law which allows individual local authorities to take away those permitted development rights if they choose to, and insist that you will need planning permission for various things that you can normally do under permitted development. And also, some local authorities have decided that they need to control the conversion of C3 houses into small C4 HMOs in their area. As such, they've introduced an Article 4 direction, meaning you can't create such an HMO without planning permission. So moving on now, if you want to apply for planning permission for a new HMO, here's what I suggest you should do. Firstly, find out what the local council's policy is on HMOs. They may have what is known as a supplementary planning document which explains this. This will outline where and when the local council is willing to grant planning applications for new HMOs where permission is needed, and where and when they are not. There are several reasons why local councils might say that they are unwilling to give planning permission for HMOs, and reasons for why they have brought in Article 4 directions too. They might be concerned that there is already a high density of HMOs in some areas, that a large concentration of HMOs is changing the character of an area and making it a place where other residents simply don't want to live. Now, this might be the case, for example, where there are a lot of student HMOs. Some councils are concerned that more HMOs will take away housing that is needed by families. They might cite antisocial behaviour issues, or concerns over housing quality, or feel that local amenities are being overstretched. Secondly, find out if the area has an Article 4 direction, one where even small HMOs need planning permission. You can easily find it out by checking your local council's website. Now, many local authorities do not have any Article 4 areas for HMOs at all. Some have just 1 or 2. Some, mainly cities, have large Article 4 areas. But Article 4 areas do not necessarily cover all of a town or city, however. They may cover only a relatively small part of it. So the local council will usually have a map which clearly marks the Article 4 areas they have. Also, find out why the Article 4 direction has been introduced and under what circumstances planning permission may or may not be granted. Thirdly, find out if planning permission has been granted for any new HMOs in the same area recently. You can do this by searching the Council's planning application site. It will give you a few clues as to whether permission might be given for more or not. Also, take pre-application advice. I'd also suggest that you consider taking what is known as pre-application advice on your plans. In simple terms, you tell the council what you want to do, and they'll tell you if you're likely to get planning permission for it, and what you might need to do to get permission. So taking pre-app advice isn't the same as actually applying for planning permission. Bear in mind that there may be a charge for this depending on the area. Should you even bother applying for planning permission to create a new HMO in an Article 4 area? Well, this is a catch-22 situation. When there is an Article 4 direction in place for HMOs in an area, this is often because there is high demand for HMO accommodation. So, if you can set up a new HMO in that area, you should have plenty of tenants. But getting planning permission for a new HMO of any size in an Article 4 area is much more tricky than outside one. As well as the fact that it may go against council HMO policy, you may well get lots of objections from local residents too. It's not necessarily impossible to get HMO planning permission in an Article 4 area. However, if, for example, the current density of HMOs is not that high in that particular street, you may still be able to get permission. Let me finish up by passing on a few tips when it comes to planning permission for HMO. If there is no Article 4 direction, keep your HMO to no more than 6 people. Then you won't need to bother with planning permission at all. You could also look at setting up a 6-room HMO now, then in future adding some extra rooms to it. There's no guarantee, but it may be easier to get permission to develop an existing HMO. If there is an Article 4 area, then look if you could set up HMOs in areas which fringe it. It will be much easier to create a new HMO there, yet you should still benefit from the strong demand that exists in the nearby Article 4 area. If you're planning a large HMO, whether or not there is Article 4, then research is very much the name of the game. Once you've found a suitable area, research what the planning situation is there before you even look for a property to buy. So I hope you found this video useful and that it will be helpful when applying for planning permission for an HMO, and also in finding the very best areas to locate them. So if you found this video useful, please hit the like button below so that others just like you will get to see it, and also subscribe to our channel so you'll get notified of other videos that we post each week. Appearing on your screen right now will be more videos that will help you in your property business. Thanks for listening.